Hello, how are you? Here again to teach you this I think is novel. To implement RecMin Mining Software. On this occasion, I'm recording this video for you. To talk to you of the subject of the databases. You know RecMin, the one you'll learn here. RecMin Free, which is developed by Dr. Cesar Castañón Fernandez, is in of 32 bits, right? Then I'll explain. Because you know that today, there are also 64 bits when a software works on 32 bits, means maximum, use the 2 gigas of RAM of the memory that you have. Computer, it means that you have 16 gigs of RAM as you are going to waste 14 gigabytes of memory since at most that software will use 2 gigs of RAM. Then what happens when you do you need to use more RAM? Sometimes you have to drive immense amounts of data or millions of calculations. Then on a 32-bit system, it is possible not yield, right? Suppose, for example, the Antamina mine here in Peru. All your drilling and sample information. If you wanted to move all that information with RecMin Free, you may not be able to resist because RecMin, as I say, is a 32-bit software and will not be able to move that information. Suddenly it is going to be slow. Then against that need, and you also know that various software of the commercial formerly operated in 32 bits, but today almost all have migrated to 64-bit. What does 64-bit mean? Then you will use all the available memory you have in the computer. For example, if you have 32 gigs of RAM of memory, because it uses all that memory, the more memory you can move, immense amount of data, right? Well, today in day when we talk about technology accuracy, we have to move the existing data, since it is systems 64 bits, then based on it, Dr. Cesar Castañón is soon to launch the RecMin Pro. East would be the RecMin Free, which you know, and the new one would be the RecMin Pro that goes to be a part that is going to be commercial and that will be sold, which will be directed to large companies, which can buy, although obviously then the value, it will not be like the other software, is going to be a value affordable. Today to date that we are, April 20th, 2017, we are almost finished with details and tuning details, right? So this software is completely in 64 bits, it means that you will be able to move huge amounts of data. So not to divorce RecMin Free. Suddenly, you will think that when launching the RecMin Pro, we are going to forget the RecMin Free. That's not the idea. The idea is to always use the 2 RecMin Free. Always goes, if any, will continue to be updated, getting better. You know what it can use professional user independently, and the company can have the RecMin Pro. The idea is that information is fully compatible between both software. Then the new that is coming now is that, for example, in RecMin Free, as database we use the access, right? Because access is common and economic. Plus, every computer has it. Many know it, but has a limitation and is the capacity. Data storage, access, can only store 2 gigs of information or 2 GB. Then for a small project, for a small mine, because it is very well. But as I say, what would happen, for example, if you want to move the data of mine Turrejón of Colombia or the Cucaramita mine of Chile, because you really could not. Then you know that, for example, today in the day the banks, the entities of governments use a database that have very heavy information and use private databases as, for example, Oracle, right? What is it? Unlimited. These databases may contain the information of a whole country, so to speak, Canada, even from around the world. Then those databases, they cost a lot of money, but there is, because there are also data of that magnitude, as well as Oracle, which are free, right? We have, for example, PostgreSQL. We also have MySQL. We have Maria, MDB, which are data that are based on the software philosophy, free. You can download, you can implement, and you can use. Then RecMin Pro has been made thinking in that you can use its unlimited databases so that you can handle a lot information. A problem with RecMin Free is the theme of the blocks. With RecMin Free, I can only move 1, 5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 blocks, but nowadays, projects handle 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 blocks and then move them. In RecMin, it's a challenge, right? It is not going to be able to, but with the Pro RecMin, all that can be done quickly and easily. Then I start telling you about the compatibility of both software and then RecMin Free. Use Access as a database, and then you can be the case that you have information in RecMin Free and want to immigrate to RecMin Pro, want to use the same database, then you can use the same base Access data. Which do you have working, right? But the theme is that the RecMin Pro is developing 64 bits. Obviously going to user will depend on the access of 64-bit, and RecMin Free uses the 32-bit access. So for what both are compatible, in this video I'll teach you how install 64-bit access. So what I want you to do in your computer, you will have any Office programs, can be Excel, Word, or Access itself, where you say File, then where says yes. Down where is this? The question mark. Where it says About Access, you click Yes. Up here, if you realize in this red letter I will make screenshots, you realize that this access I have installed is 32 bits, although the version is 2016, but is in the 32-bit technology. It happens that when you install a FHKey, default installs the 32-bit system or the Office of 32-bit to be compatible with everything the old files that have. But as I say, if you go to dedicate entirely to use RecMin Professional, I would recommend that you use 64-bit access. I think that everything is going to improve. The FHKey 32 bits, let's say it's olden today. Modernly, almost all are coming out of 64-bit, almost none comes out of 32 bits, then the end will end up using 64 bits. Then what I recommend is that the Office uninstall it completely. What will I do? I'm going to uninstall. I'm going to go back to install it to 64-bit. Then to install, you go to Panel. Control, I close the access now. Same, if you have a file you have saved, it does not matter. You're going to Control Panel, forgive me, here it is how to uninstall the FHKey, or any program. Keep in mind that here my computer, I have licensed to FHKey, paid an annual way license. Keep in mind that you suddenly have the Office, as we say here in Peru, the pirate. Well, be careful at the moment of doing everything, because at the time of reinstalling it, you will not be able to. You will lose suddenly crack and all those things, right? I always recommend that you use better licensed software. Is not so expensive. For example, buy the Office payment of $80 per year. It is not a lot of money, but you even have a FHKey home you got for 5 computers. You can join with friends paying the $80. You divide between 5 people, you get $15 per year, but you are using a legal software or software the trust, right? Well, where are you going? Says uninstall programs and searches the FHKey. You look for it here, given several programs. Here it is, a FHKey. Very well, double click and then we're going to uninstall it. Already is. Then once you have install the software, which by the way, if you had files in Excel, you will not be able to open them until again install the Office. You go to your Microsoft account. Example I have here, account, here is what I paid annual, by license to use legal FHKey. Go where it says, install FHKey, here down in subscriptions, says install FHKey, right? You enter into your account, you go to the part where the products of this page, yes. Just here, that's not yet, except, cancel this, close this, and here you go where say, download, install FHKey, language 32, 64 bits and other options, installation, then you are right. Well, here you use a FHKey 64-bit. Right, choose this option, look what it says. Predetermined, each time install, which normally install is 32-bit, because sometimes there are people who have computers from previous years and then they want to have 32 bits normally and maybe with 64. Present drawbacks. So, as I tell you, do this. if you are going to use the RecMin Pro professionally, yes. Otherwise leave it. How is your computer and how is it going? Working with RecMin Free, bonus not. You need to do all this, yes. Not sure to use the RecMin Pro. If you want to have RecMin Pro to be compatible, both RecMin Pro as RecMin Free, I recommend use the 64-bit fetch key to be able to take advantage of the 64 access bits. You click there, you put the language Spanish, install, right. Appears the window. We are going to install it in Documents or Downloads. Agree. There it is, and we close the window. Here it is, for example, downloaded. Just click You go to a window and you're going to say, yes, accept, then you wait and you follow the procedure, right? Then click Next, Next, Next. Then remember, if you are going to use RecMin Pro professionally, it is advisable to work with a fetch key 64-bit, since the RecMin Pro is developed in 64 bits, so that our databases are compatible and are not present. No problem. It is recommended to work with 64 bits. Maybe you will continue working with RecMin Free. That version works properly with the fetch key or 32-bit access. You do not have to move it. As I was telling you, this 32-bit, no, I notice difference, but sometimes there are people who have files of the year 2000, then that information has been worked on 32 bits. There are problems there when using 64-bit, right? Look, when your Office package, you are coming, a fetch key, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, for Post Office, you have the endnet to put notes, to advertise web pages and access. What is it that we care about? Us? Actually, it works for us on the subject of RecMin, Excel and access. Remember now, Excel you can find in leaves or online, for example, Google Drive or Google Gmail, have sheets of calculation online. It seems to me also Outlook, Microsoft too can do online, because the technology has come a long way. Then I keep on talking about you, but RecMin Pro, we have it here. For now we're separated into 4 windows. Each software is separate, independent. It would be normal, they are like RecMin in a single executable. Look, start RecMin, you realize from a single site you handle all other subprograms. For example, this would be the RecMin Free. Do not. It's a bit slow, because just recently are installing. This is RecMin Free. And for example, you choose a project and you realize you have the model of drawing, the editing mode and the 3D module to look at objects 3 dimensions. All this program, I'll get back to you. Repeat, is developed in 32 bits in programming language. Old. It is very useful and it continues always developing. You will give account. Free software is powerful and will always follow improving, improving, improving. Okay, but as I say, the disadvantage that we had, that we could not work in 64 bits to move large quantities of data, right? That is why we have RecMin Pro. This is, we have RecMin Project, which would be similar to this free window that we started a moment ago. We started. There it is, RecMin Professional. You realize it's a software licensed, correct? Here it is. Here you choose the projects you had, right? You can enter drawing module. You enter the RNDRAW to the editing RN of probes and 3D viewer. Develop RecMin Professional. For example, at the moment we have editing projects. If we open the editing window of projects, here you can use databases. PostgreSQL is the one that let's use it now. I'll recommend that it be used because it is open source, is free and does not have to buy it. There is also MySQL, as I told you, but there is a part that is free, another part is commercial. You also have the MariaDB database. Then the good, the advantage of this database, since which are unlimited, you can handle millions of blocks, okay? MDB is the type of database. The Type access. These NDB will be compatible with networks, but also when RecMin is working right now, 20 April. This date, I am recording this video. Add that you can open PostgreSQL database. Unlimited database, but how do you? I'm going to have its limitation, because RecMin is 32-bit, anyway. To have compatibility, for example, suppose we have a project of 800 soundings and I just want to open it, 100 because of that base of PostgreSQL data, could open it with RecMin free, there would not be problem. Now I would like to open the 800 which, for example, are of 1000 meters of depth with hundreds of samples. It will be difficult to upload that information, but with the Pro, if that is if it is an information small, you can open it with RecMin free, right? With us, professionals who can move up to 300 drill holes 500 meters deep. No problem, but already. For a huge database, lots of data, as recommended. Is RecMin Pro, right? Well, I'm going to pause the video, wait for it, install the RecMin. Sorry, the Afitki 64 bits, to have it ready and able to use it. Ready, says everything. Afitki is already installed. Close, you're here again. The files are already recovered, so now you have the software of 64 bits. Let's verify if it was true. Yes. Access, open 1. Application access, Word or Excel, to verify if it is actually uninstalled. The 64 bits. Confirm the account and nothing else. Well, there it is, another. Something that I forget to tell you, that in order to be able to install 64-bit access, then you had to check before your computer is 64-bit for this. Let's see how it's done. You go here, you write the word team. Right. Once you're here, you go where it says properties, you get the next window. Then here it says that your system operating system is 64-bit for a 64-bit processor, and by chance if your computer is 32-bit, because you will not be able to install a Afitki 64-bit. Then all software, which is 32-bit, if you can install it on a system of 64 bits, in that part there is no problem. Yes. Well, there you have it. Let's look at where it says. Finally everything is the same. You go here. And tells you that access that you have now is 64-bit. Then you are ready to be able use it with RecMin Pro. Use it with RecMin Fair, you think? If we close, the window is ready, okay? That, what I wanted to teach in this video, as I tell you, as long as you're going to use the RecMin Pro, suddenly, in the future you think exchange data, RecMin free, RecMin Pro, it is recommended that have installed the access software 64-bit or 64-bit office, so that there are no problems of incompatibility agreement. A hug. I hope this will help you in any query. You can leave me here below. Okay.